shut down these turntables, get situated. Isn't she lovely? Okay, so Miss Fancy Plants, what do you got in your hand right now?
Well, I have a lovely plant, and to go with that, I have some rosé to keep on theme. Wine
Perfect.
Wednesdays.
Wine Wednesdays. Wine Wednesdays, happy hump day. I hope everyone's having a good week so far. I am DJ Lonnie Love, and with me today, we have a very special guest, my friend Belinda, aka Miss Fancy Plants.
Hello, everyone.
Yay! I should have planned a little applause sample, but you know,
Let's go.
we all know. It was a warm welcome. So the chat is quite lively. We are very excited to have you. I've done a plant chat here and I shared everything I knew, but I'm so excited to have you because I think while we have some overlapping tips, you have a much larger collection of plants than I do. You have more varieties. You are far more patient than I. So let's, tell the people a little bit about how long you've been collecting plants because it's actually not that long.
It hasn't been that long. I can't even remember how long it's been, but I think it's only been a couple of years. And like most things, it's like, oh, you have an interest, and then it comes like, I don't know, it's just kind of snowballs.
Right.
And I just dived deep into this community, and it's been fun,
A
especially
com-
during COVID times.
a community, you say.
Oh
So,
yeah.
are you a part of? Where do these communities exist?
Well, virtually, also locally, and like everywhere. I don't know. There's like it all started with like at first I was into succulents. Succulents are these types of things. Most
Right.
people see them in the desert or in people's yards and stuff. And then there's this thing called propagation, which I was really interested in. Like, whoa, with each of these leaves, you can actually make new baby plants. Let me see.
That's
And then I went to my first plant swap. Randomly, I saw on Facebook there was a plant swap, and so I went, and like people were just giving out cuttings and swapping and stuff, and I was like, this is so cool. And that's how I got a lot of my plants for my collection is just going through plant swaps and people just gifting plants and all that.
right. And I mean, just the little baby succulents. When we reconnected in LA, I remember you had a succulent collection that was quite modest to start, and then we learned about propagation, and it blossomed like your whole collection multiplied tenfold.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a little bit. It might have multiplied over the even since you left.
yeah.
So I don't know if people know, but we know each other from back in New York randomly.
Yeah, over a decade ago, we had mutual friends. We would run into each other at bars and just like out and about. And then we started running into each other in LA, which is
Never happened.
never happened. So, New York, running into someone, it's not a huge deal. It's tiny island. But running into someone in LA is nuts because you spend half your life in a car. It's a massive city, a collection of suburbs. So to run into someone repeatedly in LA is crazy. And then we ended up getting a chance to live together for a bit, which was really fun. And I think
Yeah.
during that time, we both kind of got really planty with things.
Oh yes, yes. We fed into each other's obsession, and it's been great. It's been a great bonding tool, conversation starter with you and a lot of other people as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And okay, one thing I really find special about your plant collection, how you've grown it so much, a lot of it you did on a budget. Like you mentioned propagation and, of course, getting cuttings. But where are you buying plants? And what's kind of the price range that you're comfortable spending or that you tend to spend?
$3.99 is my favorite price tag. Like I love getting clippings from friends and like going like other plant enthusiasts. So disclaimer: I'm not an expert by any means, but I am an enthusiast and I like learning about plants from other people and telling people what I do know. And so, in terms of getting other plants, buying plants, I've gone to like a flower market. They have a lot of cool stuff for really cheap. Uh, I've gone from interesting plants even in the bargain section. Like I've seen a plant that I got for $1, and then I went to a nursery and it's like $10. So
Right.
there's deals to be had even with plants. And then like Home Depot and like big box stores also have plants sometimes, depending on where you go.
Right. I'm not trying to support Home Depot, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I know they, Home Depot and Lowe's both sometimes will have like Monsteras at a like crazy affordable deal. Like,
Yeah.
so
So I actually bought one from Home Depot, a Monstera, that's been doing beautifully, and I gifted it to my mom,
yeah.
and it's been like producing so many babies. So that's been kind of cool, like gifting that out and sharing that.
Right.
Where else? Oh, and then the cool thing about big box stores is they do have a return policy if you keep the receipt. And it used to be a year, but now it's only like 90 days or 60 days and stuff. But if you keep the receipt and you have a brown thumb or something happens, then you can
Right.
bring back the dead plant and
Right.
return it or exchange
I
it.
think that the policy changed probably with the plants getting so popular, and then of course somebody has to ruin it and abuse it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although my parents their lavender didn't do so hot, so they actually were able to exchange it. So
Yeah. And then so plants, can be pretty pricey, but you've talked about how you got those on the cheap and affordably. What about things like accessories like planters and hangers? Where do you pick those up?
my favorite 99 cents only store.
Yeah.
Like when it's in season, like during the spring, they have like a lot of different stuff.
Right.
Yeah, like anything you need, like, and I'll go over the tools that you probably need
Yeah.
to begin. But yeah, I got a lot of the supplies from there. Daiso, which is like another Japanese discount store where everything's like $1.50 and stuff. They have some cool things there.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of different places. Yes.
I love it. Well, I'm excited to see what tools and accessories you've acquired since I've last seen your place. But should we do a little just tour of kind of some of your collection?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's take you on a little tour in my apartment.
Okay.
Okay.
And I love the
So
earrings, by the way. I'm so jealous. Those are so cute.
I dressed on theme, and this is a pin that Sarah, our other roommate, gifted us. So
Look.
I was like, let's wear it all.
Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
so let me flip the camera.
Cute.
So I'll just go through this section. This is like Pathos variety. This is my poor little alocasia that's, you know, still trying to thrive. These are called Hoyas.
Yeah. Oh, what we can talk about it a little bit more, but why do you have a canister over the clear container, the greenhouse
So
over
you
it?
know how it's been really hot in LA lately?
Yes.
So this is called doming. So sometimes when you want the soil to retain the moisture and not
Right.
evaporate so much,
Right.
you want to put it maybe a dome, and then in this case just a plastic cup, and then
Mm,
that'll help kind of create a little greenhouse effect.
nice.
So this is a neon pothos. I love how it's so vibrant.
Thriving.
And so Hoyas are really great beginner plants too because they look like leafy plants, but then they're also very like they're a variety of succulents.
Right.
Um,
And succulents are a hardy plant.
yes, if you don't want to water it every day, then succulents and Hoyas are your friend.
Okay.
So this is I don't eat a lot of avocados, but when I do like to save the seeds. And look, after a lot of time, you can sprout some things.
Someone in the chat earlier mentioned having an avocado seed. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is amazing. When I saw this plant a year ago, she had maybe about a couple feet worth of vining. What a dream.
I didn't realize it grew, but I guess it did.
Oh, definitely. She was only 2 to 3 feet tops.
So these are a string of hearts because the leaves look like little hearts, so they're cute.
Yeah.
And then again, more plants. I guess I have a lot of plants. Oops.
Whoops. Okay.
I have more hanging plants up there, and this is what Lonnie gifted me. She gave me cuttings of her pothos, and I finally stuck them in soil, and it's been like trailing and vining and stuff.
It lives on. Oh my
This is
gosh.
this is also a variety of pothos, and this one has like a more satiny texture. And This one is much sought after.
That one's the Jade Pathos, right?
No, this
No?
one is Micans. I forgot the
Oh,
word,
oh.
but it's like Mican something something something.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm not an expert, but
Okay.
this is
Right.
Pothos Enjoy.
Yeah.
Oh, I like this plant. This is called the friendship plant because when this gets bigger, then it'll have little pups, and then you just gift this to people. And actually, I got this as a gift
Yeah.
from another person who had.
Didn't you have that propagating at one point too?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
So when leaves fall off, you can actually put them in water, and then eventually it will propagate
Love that.
and sprout.
Okay.
Oh, my friend said it's a philodendron micans.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeff. And then this is a terrarium that I made for a baby shower, so it's a great bonding activity. This one's not doing so well.
Does your cacti have a beanie in the back, that yellow thing?
Why, yes, it does.
That's
Then we picked up a beanie.
so cute.
All right, you can have fun with your plants, guys.
Yeah.
This is another doming, so again, it was really hot, so trying to do that.
Nice.
This is a raindrop peperomia. So this is similar to this,
Right.
but this has a raindrop kind of leaf formation.
Wow.
And then these are Sansevierias, or also known as snake plants.
Or mother-in-law's tongue.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So these are good if you don't want to, like, if you want to just set it and forget it.
Right.
Look, I haven't watered it in like weeks, and it's like growing a little pup.
Yeah, I think in general Sansevieria is recommended to beginners too, because you only have to water it about like once every 3 weeks, and it prefers to be dry between waterings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some people overwater, and that's like a thing I yell at my parents about.
Yeah.
More hanging plants. Another string of hearts.
I need a string of hearts. My name's Lonnie Love.
You should.
I should.
So, okay. So this is where I kind of went on the deep end. I do sometimes confession. I sometimes buy plants in pairs, but then it proves that one can be more renty than the other.
Right.
Notice how one is much fuller than the other.
Right, and you bought them at the same time, same place.
Same place.
Yeah.
But,
so I think what the takeaway there is, like, if you have a plant that just doesn't work out for you, it doesn't necessarily mean it's your fault or that you can't do it. It just might have been a less well-rooted plant.
True.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is a Cebu Blue. It's another variety of pothos, and I named him Sideshow Bob.
Yeah.
Because he kind of reminds me of his crazy hair. And I got this guy from Walmart, and now it's very long and lustrous.
Someone said, "Return the runt." And there was a question: are you a plant rescuer? Like, you know?
Well, sometimes.
I think you try.
I try.
Sometimes. So the comment was about, their former mother-in-law could never throw away a plant.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it's like totally dead, I will try my best to revive it.
Yeah.
This is a good example of how patience kind of went out. So this was a plant that I bought at Target, of all places, because it came with a planter.
Right.
And it got attacked by something called spider mites.
Ooh.
And so, like, all the leaves fell off, and it looked really depressing. And then I was like, okay, maybe the bulb's still intact. And I put a dome over it, watered it on occasion, and 6 months later, it started sprouting. Isn't it cute? I also call him Dragon because it looks like dragon wings.
So
it's an alopecia, though.
It really does look like a dragon plant. So does no one call it that? That's just you?
I think it's just me.
Oh, well, I'm with it.
More plants? Should I?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. How are you guys feeling in the chat? Do you want to see more of her collection? I think I got a preview today, and I think it's quite lovely.
I know. All my friends are like, you have so many plants. I never knew. Well, yes.
Yes, more plants from... Yes. Yes.
This is
Sure.
sure. So this is my Monstera that still has not split yet, but it's doing beautifully in this little corner.
Oh, and what it means to split is the leaf. Do you have an example of a split leaf by
Why,
chance
yes,
somewhere?
I do.
Okay.
I'll get to that.
All right, we'll get to that.
Um,
That rubber tree is so cute.
oh, Trader Joe's. So Trader Joe's also has these plants for $5.99 sometimes. So check
Yeah.
out Trader Joe's.
And is that a regular rubber tree? Is that one of the specialty ones that's kind of pink?
So this is the white variety. So I also have they come in pink and burgundy and this white one.
Yeah.
So oftentimes plants will come in different colors. This is called a syngonium, or I think, right? You have this one too, Lonnie.
Yeah. Yes, I do. Mine took a little bit of a hit when months back before COVID, I traveled and forgot to well, not I didn't forget to water it. I watered it, but it just didn't do that well without me because it's so small.
I know.
There was a question about repotting a plant with garden soil instead of potting soil. Is that bad? Kind of, because it's generally too dense and holds too much moisture. But we can talk a little bit more about soil and when we get to that part of our chat.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I know there's a lot of plants to show.
No, this is great.
I'm like such a nerd. So this is one of my favorites because it has hot pink stripes. It's called the pinstripe something ornata or something.
Yes.
What is that?
I love that plant. And I've tried to have it before, but it's not, I feel like with plants, it's kind of the no pain, what is like, what's the pain and beauty saying? Whatever. No
No
pain.
pain, no gain.
Yes, no pain, no gain. It's like the more beautiful plants are sometimes the most difficult, like the tropical, colorful variety.
Yes.
They're the most temperamental. They're like the divas of plants. They're like, we're beautiful, we're pink, we're orange, we're difficult.
Yes, exactly. This one kind of also revived. So these are called califias. So
Yes.
they're very temperamental, and you have to take a lot of care with them.
Yeah.
This is also called a mini monstera because it has split leaves. This is also Tetrasperma rhaphodorf, whatever.
Yeah.
Scientific name. So this is what we were talking about earlier. So this is the Satin Pathos that has been thriving.
Beautiful. And this one's really fun to touch. It almost feels kind of like a velvet.
Right?
Yeah.
And like it kind of shimmers with the light.
It's beautiful.
So this is an example of another Monstera which has not split. Dang it.
Yeah.
Well, imagine if it looked more like this. That's called splitting.
And that stake that you have, that stick for it to kind of grow up, that's what is that? Where'd you find a giant stick?
Also a find from the 99-cent store.
Yeah.
But you kind of want it, because this one was only like this big.
Right.
And then it started climbing. So some plants like to climb, and so you have to give it some support. And so it started climbing all the way by itself, and if I can either at this point cut it and root it, or I can also just let it grow and attach it to the wall and let it climb.
Love it. Some of my friends will put pins, like single nails or push pins in the wall, and just let the vine kind of like rest on that to have the wall covered. So
yeah. What else is there? I mean, there's also Peperomia. This is a good beginner plant. I got this on sale for $1.25 at Home Depot.
Yeah.
But usually, I'm such a sucker for deals. I'm like, sure.
Well, you definitely get great deals one by one, but do you have an idea of how much you've spent over time, or?
I don't want to say, but I would say on the conservative side. So I follow some plant people, and they spend I kid you not, $500 on one plant.
Yes.
And I'm not nowhere near there. I'm like, $25 is a lot for me.
Right.
So I'm more on that range.
Yeah, just slow.
But I'll buy more than I should.
I feel like you're slow and steady with the plant rescuing and collecting.
Yeah. Should we go to my room or?
Let's maybe kind kind of talk about, plants that are good for beginners,
Yeah.
ones that are difficult. Maybe we can touch on some rare varieties that you're, excited about, and then we can do a little more touring and talk about how to take care of plants and such.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think Lonnie knows it's like pothos are really easy.
Oh, and
And
can we nudge your camera or have you sit just a little more to
this way. This way?
towards the clothing? If you can scoot over just a nudge. Perfect. Or back the other way. Just yeah. Perfect. Right where you're at. Thank you.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, easy to take care of. I don't know. Pothos is really easy. So I think this is also a variety of philodendrons.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, don't.
It is. I think they're related. Same kingdom.
Yeah, there's slight differences, but basically it's the same kind of similar plants. And like, you water them. You can also propagate them really easily. And propagating just, Lonnie has done a video. Like basically, you just take a pair of scissors, and then whenever it starts having a little leaf come out, it's like a node, and then you stick it in water. And so that's really easy to have a lush, vibrant plant. I also talk about Hoyas. Hoyas being very easy to take care of, and they are a little bit more on the pricier side, I've noticed. But you can also have a friend propagate them for you. What else is there? Well, succulents I think are easy. Cacti are easy. Depends on like how much care and attention you want to give them.
Right. And then I think also the planter really affects how easy or difficult it is to maintain a plant, because sometimes you go to a store like a Trader Joe's or even Home Depot and they have these cute arrangements of succulents, but they're in planters with no drainage, which is just setting you up for root rot.
Yes, and you don't want that.
No.
No.
We shall
Yeah.
get into that. But
So, like in terms of pots, you always want something that has a little bit of drainage, and if drainage meaning like a hole on the bottom or one up. Also, the type of material that the pot comes in it depends on the plant. So, like this is a terracotta pot, so it actually draws out moisture really fast. So, if you want a plant to kind of not sit in water all the time, and it needs the soil to be drier, you want it to be in a clay pot.
right.
But if let's say you're not going to water it very often, and it needs a little bit more moisture, then it's okay for it to be in a plastic pot because it'll be a little bit more moist and won't draw out the moisture. So what I usually do is I don't like to put it in like plant it directly in a pot with no hole.
Right.
What I do is I take some rocks like this, and then I put it on the bottom so if you overwater, it'll just drain out, and it won't collect and like drown the roots.
And where's that planter from? That one's cute. Is this another bargain find or is this a designer one?
I know I'm not promoting 99 cents only store, but they have a lot of good stuff. So this is also a 99 cents only store.
That's great.
Fine.
It looks hella like normcore, like Silver Lake Nursery, boutique store.
Yeah. And a lot of the places have the same type of stuff, just at different price points. Like this, I've seen at other stores for more.
Right.
So shopping on a bargain, you just need to know what it looks. And look, it kind of looks like a face head.
Yeah, and it's growing hair. I love it. It's like a cuter chia pet.
Cuter chia pet, yes.
So that's
plants give me joy.
And that's a string of pearl, right? That you just had there?
Yes. So this is really easy to propagate also.
Yeah.
I was just teaching my friend because she just got one, and then you just cut it, and then just stick it in water, and it'll start rooting.
Yeah. So we touched a little bit on difficult varieties. What plants or varieties have you not been able to grow, if any? Like, have you struggled with any?
Lonnie, we both have struggled. So lavender is my arch nemesis. Between us, like how many plants have we?
I think
I don't know. It was like maybe 3 at least.
I only tried once. I think you might have tried a couple times. So yeah, maybe it's 3 between the 2 of us.
Yeah, and then my parents actually just got 2 French lavender plants, and I was like, just keep that receipt because I don't know how long it's going to stay. But some people are very successful. I don't know.
So lavender, I will say, is so easy to grow in a yard. Like it's
Yeah.
planting it in the soil, especially in sunny Southern California, amazing. But growing potted lavender is a trap. I don't get it. I don't. I just can't. Um,
I,
and then we mentioned, the rare varieties, more colorful ones being difficult. Which you have a few of those, right? Kind of more tropical
more
plants.
tropical. Yeah, I would say the so Califia is like the pinstripe one is
Yeah.
a more tropical variety, so it needs like more hot um, hot moisture. So I think you know that you're a plant enthusiast when you start showering with plants in your bathroom.
I started that in the apartment. I'm sorry, but also you're welcome. Okay.
I know, it's like it makes so much sense.
Yeah. So a little backstory on how we started doing this. And I actually, it's funny. Some of my friends' boyfriends will be like, Ivy was trying to save a plant and now we have plants in our shower. Like, but look, if you have a bathroom that has good sunlight, if you're lucky enough to have natural light in your bathroom, it's the perfect place for tropical plants because there's good humidity from you running the water. And yeah, it just makes sense. And like you can hang it on from your shower curtain or place it on a shelf somewhere and it just adds some nice
Yeah, it's
greenery.
like decoration and also brings you joy and it's a symbiotic relationship, I
Right.
think.
It's daily joy when you go wake up and get ready for the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, but
Okay.
one colorful variety that I can think of, let me know if you think of another one that is easy to maintain is the Transcendentia, or also colloquial known as the Wandering Jew.
Oh
Uh,
no, I know, I hate that name.
I know, but it's every time I say Transcendentia, people don't really know, but I think there's the Purple Heart, which is like the hardier one that you often see outdoors, and
I
then
hate it.
there's the zebra variety, which I love. It's purple and green. So purple people might actually really love it. Yes, that one's so easy to grow. Um,
Well, it's
you
true.
you don't even have to propagate it in water. You just take a node and stick it into soil. Like our old roommate literally had a plant that was dying. It only had 2 leaves left. I stuck it into soil, and every time it vined, I would clip it and replant it until we had a giant bush. And from those 2 leaves, she's got a whole thriving plant. I've got 3 or 4 thriving plants from 2 leaves,
Yeah,
guys. So it's
I
possible.
know. Yeah, this is also another variety that I got from like a plant swap,
Yeah.
and I think these don't really like a lot of light, so it likes indirect sunlight. So you don't want it to be in the blazing sun, or else it loses its color, which is probably what happened here. So
Right.
don't do that. Also, another easy plant, but I don't think it's that pretty, is the mother of millions or mother of thousands. So these are also tropical, and you notice how like little leaves are popping up.
Yeah.
Each of these, each of these are little plants that kind of fall off, and you can like easily have a whole container full of this stuff.
Wow.
Um, yes. What else is there? Anything basically. I just kind of it's like trial and error. If
Right.
you like plants, try to stick it in water or soil, and then chances are it might work or it might not.
Right.
But like for example, I really love shiso. Shiso leaves to eat, perilla leaves also.
Yeah.
So I got some from the supermarket, and I'm kind of trying to propagate it. And sometimes it roots really easily, and sometimes it doesn't. But until then,
Is
just eat
there
it.
anything maybe covering your mic? The sound changed just a little bit. No? Okay.
Oh no.
Good. A little clearer. We're all good. We're all good. Just okay. So, should we maybe share some tips on how to keep plants alive? Like, sun, water, drainage, your chopstick hack trick?
I know. I have chopsticks in many places now.
Yeah.
So, well, we can talk about light. So I think it really depends on what type of where you're sticking your plants. What type of plants you can have. If like you really like certain plants, but you have no sunlight in your apartment or house, then like you just have to be mindful of that. So direct and indirect sunlight. I don't know if that's pretty self-explanatory,
I
but
actually think it's helpful because for anyone who's a beginner, they're like, "What does that mean?"
Yeah. So help me out here. So I
Okay.
think with the direct sunlight is like you need bright, full-on sunlight. Like plants like tomatoes really need bright, full sun.
Yeah.
Um, and then whereas like a lot of plants they will burn, especially in Southern California during a heat wave, like they can't handle too much direct sunlight. So you have to kind of put them in the back. So
Right.
that's why I have some of those plants in the back, away from the sun, but it'll still get a lot of sun in the apartment
Yes.
regardless.
So I think a good way to think about it is like direct light succulents. They just sit in the sun, they bake, and they won't burn. But some other plants that need, they say full light, but full indirect light. It's kind of like the plants behind Belinda right now. They're in a shaded area because they're in her home. But right now it's bright enough. It's still getting enough light without any sort of aid. It's just still getting some sun. So that's, yeah. That's why that apartment, man, I miss that sunlight. You could grow anything.
I know there is a lot of sun. So this light actually it's not a decorative item. It's actually a grow light. I know. I caved in because like during the winter time, I was like sad that my plants weren't getting enough sun. So I went on Amazon and then I bought a grow light. But it looks kind of cool too for
See,
video.
and that's it's like it's slow. It's right. You just start out. You're like, oh, I have a few extra plants. Then next thing you got a light. Then you're showering with your plants, and then you start wearing plant accessories, and then you have an Instagram handle for your plants. I love it though. I love it. I'm just teasing. So, do you feed what nutrients do you feed your plants, if any? That's one of the chat questions.
So I am the worst at fertilizing plants on a regular basis, but I do have some. So this is one variety, indoor plant food, which I just bought at Home Depot, Miracle Grow. And this is you just pump it and whatnot. So it's liquid forms, which I tend to like. And then there's also I also bought on Amazon. So if you ever go to like Asian nurseries or plant stores, they always have these green bottles of mysterious liquid. I don't know what's in it, to be honest.
Same. I've always wondered. It's clearly some form of food coloring, but like I'm wondering what the nutrients are. So, I know for plants, like a little bit of nitrogen. What do you call it? Hydrogen peroxide. Sometimes
Uh-huh.
mixed with water is good because it helps clean of any germs, but also promotes oxygen in the roots.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what does the box say? Does it say anything besides?
It says, well, the sticker kind of like covered the description, but it says nitrogen, there's phosphate, potash, blah, blah, blah. But apparently, some people swear by this stuff, like green stuff.
Yeah,
So I just kind of like do it on occasion, like maybe once a month.
right.
Um, oh, and then also, some people, I haven't used this yet, but I bought it for plants.
Yeah.
So Epsom salt kind of supposed to help with the soil. You'll have to look it up,
Interesting. Okay.
but I heard this works.
So I know Epsom salt as like a thing to soak your body and feet in if you're tired from DJing too much or if you're sore from working out. But I didn't know you could use it for plants too.
Yeah, and I was talking to my friend Claudia,
Yeah.
who does more outdoor gardening in the community garden that she's a member of, and
Right.
she does composting, but she also saves coffee grounds and then also eggshells. I think I used eggshells for a while.
Yeah. Eggshells, I will say, as far as I know, they sometimes take a long time to break down. So it's great for outdoors or larger plants because they'll be there for
Yeah.
years, decades to come. For indoor plants, they sometimes say to suggest to boil the eggshells into the water so it gets some of the nutrients without the mulch of eggshells. Also, hair trimmings, like if you've been trimming your bangs from quarantine, or if you have facial hair that you trim, sprinkle that into your soil. That stuff breaks down and provides great amount of nutrients to your plants. I know it sounds maybe gross because hair, people get weird about it, but it works.
That's interesting. I learned something new right now.
Yeah.
How about fingernails? No, I'm just
A
kidding.
couple people in the chat mentioned having grow lights for their plants, and you have so much natural light. I'm not sure if you'll be able to A/B test, but like you guys that have grow lights for your plants, do you notice a difference? Like, do you think I know one person mentioned it's key for Canadian winters, but like
Mhm.
if someone is like, should I get a grow light? My place is kind of dark. Is the answer always going to be yes? That's for the chat. I'll let you know what they say. But
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
like
know. But hey, this light makes me happy when it's dark outside.
I mean, even just the color of the grow light in itself, if it did nothing, it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Are bugs any issue for your indoor plants?
Unfortunately, yes. Because, it's nature. So this is why I also picked this up. This is alcohol, rubbing alcohol, which you can dilute if you have like little gnats
Yeah,
and mealworms. So
right.
sometimes if you have a plant that's not doing very well and you see like little fuzzy growths, it kind of looks like almost like cotton balls stuck to your plant. They're
Yeah,
like mealy bugs, which are harmless for humans,
right.
but they're bad for plants. And so I would get um, one of these things, like Q-tip, put some water, and then just like clean it, or
Mm.
also put it in a spray bottle like this, and then just spray the infected areas.
Have you successfully saved plants from mealyworms with this, or what? I mean, the
So
various
this
pests.
plant I was with spider mites, and
Yeah.
so I was able to kind of like save it somehow, and it survived.
Yeah. So I remember you had done. I don't know if it was related to bugs or something, but you put cinnamon on it. What was that for?
So I heard cinnamon is also like a good. So apparently cinnamon is really good for plants. It can be used as a rooting agent. So if you're trying to propagate things, it will help promote that. It
Right.
also is supposed to kill certain, like it's antifungal kind of agent as well. So um, you can also try that, and it smells good too. So it can't hurt. So I try to go the natural route whenever possible. There's a lot of different types of chemicals you can use.
Right. I've heard some people sometimes will take a little bit of neem oil sometimes for plants, but yeah, I've dealt with mites on some of my outdoor plants. Indoor
Mhm.
plants, I haven't had too much, but I do know sometimes if you have gnats with your indoor plants, it likely means that you've overwatered them, giving the
Mhm.
soil a damp kind of breeding ground for gnats.
Yeah.
Ugh.
No. Yeah, that's bad. I
Yeah.
think sometimes people tend to overwater their plants. Like, especially during COVID times, I feel
Yeah.
like people have a lot of time on their hands. They want to see things grow, but I think that's bad. And
Right.
sometimes, you just have to look at the roots and stuff and see if it's being overwatered because you can't tell on the surface level.
Right. You just got to give your babies some space, you know?
No, it's true.
Let them
Don't
breathe.
be a helicopter plant parent.
Yeah.
That's bad.
So I see a chopstick. What's this about?
So, I mean, I'll shout out to my friend Carrie who taught me about this trick. So sometimes, like, you'll water plants and it'll still continue to dry out, right?
Right.
And then you'll see all the water coming down and like going through, and you're like, "What's up with this? I've been watering regularly, but it's like not for whatever reason, it's still drying out."
Right.
Sometimes, like if you have a plant for a long time, I'll just use this as an example. Like the root ball will be so bound that it becomes too dry and dense, and the water won't actually penetrate inside the roots to wet the roots.
Right.
So what you do is you stick it in a chopstick or some kind of object,
Yeah.
and then kind of like pick it out a little bit, or loosen up a little bit in the middle,
Yeah.
and then try to water it, and then you can bottom water it versus top watering. So bottom watering meaning
Oh,
you
it's just kind
put
of like nature a little bit, where you let it absorb water from bottom up.
the ground up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I see.
So sometimes you want to put a tray on the bottom, and then
Right.
put water on the bottom, and then the dry soil will soak up the the water
So
and keep putting it down.
when when a plant is root bound, that means what? And does a chopstick help with that?
Depends. Some plants like to be root bound. So, like you have to kind of like do a little bit of research once you acquire a new plant that you're not familiar with.
Right.
And like try not to repot too soon for plants that don't really want that likes to be a little bit more root bound. For
Right.
example, the Monstera at my parents' house, it wasn't doing well all of a sudden. But finally, when we put it into a bigger pot, it had more space to grow.
Yeah.
And new soil in, it was like much more of a happy camper.
Mm. Good to know.
Yeah. Because it's kind of crazy, but like plants will absorb all the nutrients. And sometimes if it's been an old plant,
Yeah.
there's not going to be a lot of soil left. It's just going to be like
Right.
mostly roots.
That was actually the next thing I was going to mention. So we touched on fertilizer. I would say most store-bought plants, they probably have enough nutrients, fertilizer, whatever from the existing what, coming as is for what, like 2 years you'd say? That's my experience. I feel like around year 2 is when you kind of need to add some nutrients or extra soil and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, as a fairly new enthusiast, I don't really know. I haven't repotted anything that's been that old
Yeah.
yet, or mature.
Right.
So I'm still not there yet. And I also have. I think you were much more of a bigger plant person.
Right.
You like the bigger plants. I'm more of like the biggest thing is like maybe this big.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bigger plants scare me.
I like bigger plants because I read, or not I read, I saw a speaker. He talked about how if you have about 6 to 8 chest height plants, they can produce enough oxygen for you to be like in a biodome. So I always think about that as being really helpful, especially when I lived in Chicago, where you have long winters and you don't really want to open the windows. It's kind of nice to know that your air is being purified. But
Do you want to talk more about this? Because I know you were all about like the air purifying plants, and I'm like, oh, cool. I guess it's cool.
yeah, well, there is a list of recommended houseplants from NASA that kind of purifies some of the common toxins in the air that are leached from plastics or just man-made pollution. But as a result, I'm just looking for plants that are kind of taller, right? But they can be a little more costly. Like we're looking at $30+ a plant, but generally I kind of cap myself at 30 to 40 for a chest, 3 foot plant.
Yeah.
And then the smaller plants, though, I like to buy those or propagate those because I feel like they're just fun. They're like $5 here and there, or like most of yours, a lot of them free, right? So yeah, the only thing about having a collection of small plants is it's so tedious to water all of them. Like I'm just like, water this one, water this one, water this one. So
Yeah.
and then I'm like, oh god, I got this corner over here. So I've been kind of moving towards larger plants, so there's just 5 to knock out, and I can be done.
I know, I know. I know sometimes I'm like, did I just spend so much time like watering and tending to all my plants? But I think I like it because I watch them grow. Like succulents, they take a long time, but like you can actually see growth having gone away for a weekend, and then you're like, oh my gosh, it's trailing now.
Right, and there's something I think really zen about watering your plants. Like it's designated time just for you. You're unplugged. You're literally just showering something with love. No.
I know. Speaking of watering, oh my gosh. So I can talk a little bit about like all the tools.
Yes. Let's tools, trinkets, toys. Let's get into it.
I know. It's like, yeah, you can water with anything as long as it's with water. But like sometimes watering can be fun.
Right.
So this is my splurge from IKEA.
Yeah.
And I like it because it's so cute. And then it has a thin spout. So
Right.
you can like, wherever you want to like just spot water, you can do that.
Right.
This is an amazing tool if you have hanging plants that Lonnie introduced me to. And it's like this little squeegee, like you don't want to like take it down all the time. So you can like just go up and just squeeze. And
Right.
if you have a lot of plants, sometimes you want to be like my former roommate V, who we both know. She had one of these things.
Ooh. Oh, is this like a Ghostbusters thing?
I know. I feel like I should have a little backpack for it. But
Okay.
what you do is you pump it up.
Wait, can you actually put it on the table because the way the screen's cropped? Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay, whatever you do, don't buy the 2-gallon one. I bought the 2-gallon one. It was huge. Buy the 1-gallon one. It's much more manageable.
Right.
And it's a good workout. And then you just water like so.
Ooh.
And then, Or, if you go camping, you can also use it as a shower. I don't know.
Right. Well, you are a big Burning Man attendee.
I've been.
Did you bring that with you to the burn or camping? Have you done that yet?
No, I was really tempted to, but maybe next time when I go camping, it would. No.
Yeah. Okay. We've touched on bottom watering plants. Are there any plants that you bottom water yourself or you're
Can I
usually,
say that one more time?
are there any plants that you bottom water currently?
Mm,
Because you touched on it. Just wondering if you actually, put it into use for anything.
I do sometimes, especially if I'm going to be gone for the weekend
Right.
or like a couple days and I know it's going to be hot. I just put water in the tray,
Mm-hmm.
then it'll soak up the water. I think I just like depends on like the time of the year.
Okay.
Like if it needs more water because it's been really hot and dry, then I want to get a good thorough watering in.
Right.
Yeah.
So we talked about how to keep plants alive, and how to water them with these fun tools. Like I Belinda and we're not sure. Well, she might be.
I'm petite.
Petite.
I'm petite.
Yeah, it was cute. So like in our household, we've had these hanging plants and we're like, okay, do we really want to get a step stool out all the time? So that's what that little hook shaped bottle from Daiso is good for. Yeah, it's pretty handy. But that was like the, analog baby version. And then now you have your Ghostbusters like pack.
Just use them all. Yeah. Water away.
Right.
Yeah. Daiso. It's a lot of good things.
So are there other tools and things that you're using? We've covered chopstick. We've covered watering.
Like if you want to go really nerdy and like scientific, so I'm not the most good at science stuff. I bought this kit. This is like you can measure the pH levels of your soil with a soil meter.
Belinda, you've really leveled up since we've lived together. This is a soil meter.
Again, I don't use this often, but you can definitely see how your soil's doing by doing this pH level. It has a meter. You stick it in soil.
So what is the ideal pH level for your soil?
I don't know, but it depends on your plant, and then you can do things to the soil. So, yeah. Again, okay. I'm still learning.
Wait, have you used it yet?
I did, but I'm also very skeptical of like Amazon finds. I'm like, I don't know how. I mean, I'm just gonna use my finger because sometimes, like, if you want to know when to water your plants, you just stick your finger in.
Oh.
And it'll say, like, if it's dry,
totally,
for the 2 inches, then
right. Like if your soil is already damp, you don't need to water it. Like some plants obviously need less water, so you want it to be bone dry. It just depends, but like. General rule of thumb for house plants, if the soil's damp, leave it alone. Otherwise, you'll end up overwatering. And
yeah, you don't want to overwater. It's hard to come back from that.
And I'm sure people ask you this all the time. They're always like, how much do I water my plants? Or how often? I have an answer, but I'm curious what you say.
I say it depends on the plant.
Yeah.
Depends on the plant. And like, it really, it just depends on like your house, the light,
right?
And whatnot. What's your answer?
It's right. That's kind of my answer too. It's kind of annoying, but it's so incredibly like tied to where you live, what your environment is like. Like I've had the same plants in the apartment where Belinda is at now, brought to my apartment here, and I've had to change the way I water them and care for them because the lighting's different, the air quality is different. So there's no straightforward, like, set answer, but I think there's kind of things that we can tell you to help guide yourself, like the finger checking the soil is helpful.
It's like the Asian way of cooking. Like how much water do you put in a rice cooker or whatever to cook rice?
Right.
Small finger.
Right.
Your fingers are very useful measurement tool.
Right. So generally with plants, I think a good rule of thumb is underwatering. You can always add more water, right? Mm-hmm. If you see that it's kind of wilty.
Yeah. It is true. And then if it's not doing well, maybe check the roots also. Like sometimes you just have to yank it out and be like, not yank it out, but gently like lift it and see like how the roots are doing.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
should we talk about propagation methods or do you want to do more house plant touring? It's up to you, Belinda. I'm asking you.
Oh, it's me. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can show you my balcony, but let me just show you this too.
Oh, a Swiffer?
Well, okay, so if you live in LA or a big, I'm like such a nerd. If you live in LA or urban area,
Yeah.
sometimes your plants get dusty,
Yes.
and you have to clean them, but you don't want to like meticulously wipe off each leaf. So this is also another find. I found the 99 cents only store.
Why aren't we sponsored yet? 99 cent
I
store.
know.
Come
Lonnie,
on.
work on that.
Okay.
But you just like if you have I mean, this is meant for larger leaves, but you could just like dust it, and it'll
Right.
get the smudge out, and then your plants will be happier. If your plants are happier, then you'll be happier.
That's very resourceful. Yeah. So some of my larger leaf plants, like when I did have a fiddle leaf fig, R.I.P. A wet cloth, you can kind of clean off, or like Monstera leaves. But yes, just think of it as like the leaf is where it captures sun, and if it's really dusty, that's less sun, a little less nutrients. So nice dusting is helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'll just quickly touch on like other propagation methods. So like this is also a method of propagation.
Yeah.
So these are called Lycoballs. So I bought them. I haven't had a lot of experience, but we can just put them as like a soil replacement.
Yeah.
And then you can put it in there with some water, and then you can propagate and see how it does there.
Yeah.
And you can actually buy them from IKEA, like a whole bag
Oh.
from IKEA. 5.3 quarts, and this was like maybe $5 or $6.
Okay.
I mean, anything, save jars, save cute jars, because then anything can be a propagation.
Oh, yes. So I feel like that's something we kind of glossed over, but a lot of the different cups and containers that you had for propagation or even little biodoming are just upcycled. That's upcycled to sound fancy, but it's really just reusing existing plastic or glass that would otherwise just go in the trash.
It's true. Like, if you have a round plastic thing, I like to save them, because this was like maybe like a lid of a salad bowl,
Right.
and you can use this as like a tray. What do you call those?
Yeah, because they sell at Home Depot those trays. They're nominal in expense, only like $1 or so. But it's not about the money. It's like plastic is literally trash for the environment. It rarely gets recycled. So to be able to just actually reuse it is like the best thing you can do for your plants, and kind of helps your pocketbook too.
Exactly. Why pay more when you can pay less?
Right.
That's my motto.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, like I can take you to my balcony, so some outdoor action if you want.
Yes, let's do it.
Oh my god, we're gonna go on a little house
Oh,
tour.
and your little wall, your Daiso wall.
My Daiso wall.
Yeah. But
all right.
You have your drink with you? You're gonna take a swig?
I saw a small sip.
Okay.
So this is my new I don't know, wall plant thing.
Love the art, love the plants. Oh my gosh.
I made this myself. This is inspiration from my plants. I painted those. These are 99 cents only store Daiso things that I put up on the wall.
Cute.
This,
Wait, Belinda, let me point out that like you made art as a tribute to your plants. That's we're leveling up here. Okay. So what is this? That bushy plant? Sorry.
I've had a lot of time in COVID. So.
Yeah.
So this is a Spanish moss. So oh my god. The thing with air plants is that I'm also not very good with air plants, but I saw this at a store in San Diego, and I was like, I'm gonna give it a try again.
Yeah.
So this is a living moss, and you're supposed to spritz it. Even if it's dead, I could still use it for stuff, so I'm all right with that. This is string of pearls again, and then I put cuttings in there. This is my beloved avocado sprout that kind of came out of nowhere. And then this is more succulent. This is called String of Dolphins, guys, because it looks like little dolphins. Boing, boing,
Wait,
boing.
wait, wait. Hold on. I need to see this dolphin. Whoa.
It's like little swimming dolphins.
Okay, I see it now. It's a little abstract, but that's
Little.
great.
Well, it's not doing the hottest, but so that is my bathroom.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go towards my balcony. But before, I will also show you some plants in my room.
Yeah.
So I created this wall next to my desk.
Right.
And so I got this at a plant swap, and this is like a light bulb that someone turned into, and they were trading this.
Wait, is that actually like a literal like glass light bulb?
Yeah, so this
It's
person
not
was creative, and they're upcycling this light bulb
right.
thing, and they put a plant in there, and
Jeez,
I was
that's
like, oh, cool.
so creative.
And doesn't it like, kind of like add more life to this corner that's
It
usually
does.
nothing?
Well, I think there's a Martha Stewart quote. It's like flowers make a house a home. I feel like that applies to plants too.
I feel like I didn't learn that until like recently, but
Right.
you know, some people have children, some people have fur children. I have plants.
Yeah.
This is my so this really cool chick was giving away plants that she wasn't able to sell,
Right.
and this was like one of her gifts. So I got this Hoya,
Yeah.
and it's been like doing really well in this corner. And this Hoyas can kind of start climbing, so it started climbing up this hanger thing,
How fun.
and then this is my pride and joy corner.
Ooh,
So
it's so this corner is especially lush.
right? So this is a Monstera edisonii, which is a Swiss cheese vine. And I love it because, like, look at these holes. They're so beautiful and lush, and I just couldn't resist. I know I have two of these plants and a lot of cuttings, but this has been doing well. This is a lemon lime maranta, which is called a prayer plant. And the reason why it's a prayer plant is because it actually moves, the leaves move. And so during the day, these leaves kind of droop down, but
Yeah.
towards the evening, all the leaves kind of go up like a prayer, like boink.
Right. That prayer plant is it kind of dynamic or like it it's the most human or most animated. There's like the Venus flytraps that everyone knows that eats bugs, but the prayer plant also
Oh yeah,
makes moves.
I know. Like I like plants that kind of like have life to them.
Right. Wait, do you still have a sensitive plant? Because that one, when you touch it, it like moves.
It was too sensitive and
R.I.P.
it died. If you want some seeds, I have some seeds.
Okay. So let's see. Ooh, outdoor.
So welcome to LA. I don't know where everybody is from. This is our view of downtown in a very smoky-filled afternoon.
Oh. Is it a boy
So
or a girl though?
I don't know.
Okay, anyways.
So yeah, tried my hand at outdoor gardening, container gardening, and I
Yeah.
try to grow from seeds. Like, with the exception of maybe 3 plants, most of these are from seeds. So this is a tomato plant I got, and it's doing okay, kind of. But these are tomato plants that actually from seed from an old tomato that I cut into that was sprouting. So I just put the seeds in soil and then became full on plants.
Wow.
And this is some Swiss chard, some green onions.
What did you grow the Swiss chard? Was that from seed?
Yeah, I was inspired by my friend who was growing them in a yard, but
Wow.
it's not as luscious when you do container gardening, but it's still alive, and
Yeah.
I've eaten them. Have you been growing green onions?
I just keep them in a jar. It's like they get kind of slimy with the water, so I haven't grown them too much, but
Yeah, if you put them in soil, it's much better.
yeah.
These are also eggplants from seed.
Yeah.
Some peppers, jalapenos, Thai basil.
Yeah.
So if you ever order takeout, save the Thai basil and then stick them in water
Love
and
it.
then make them basil.
And the oh, okay, I think the Wi-Fi might be kind of connecting better now. Oh, is that
Oh
an
no,
what do we have here?
peekaboo! It's my little eggplant. Oh no. Well, this is my first try at container eggplant gardening,
I mean, I'm impressed
but
with all of it.
well, thank you.
Have you had any
I've eaten
pests?
one. Huh?
Have you had to deal with any pests or bugs?
Yes,
Yeah.
bugs. Yeah, which is why I have a collection of nature's care, garden control,
Got it.
and then neem oil and all that stuff. But
Right.
and then more succulents. So again, my first passion was with succulents.
Yeah.
So which is why I have a lot.
Love it.
But and then oh, and I'm also a little obsessed with gnomes for some reason.
Garden gnomes. I
They kind of bring me joy.
do you remember my disco
I don't
gnome?
know. Yes!
Where is he? I'll grab my disco gnome. Cute.
Yay! I know Lonnie and I used to share a balcony, and her side was like themed all tropical, lush forests. Imagine this with her disco gnomes and her, yes. She had these iridescent balls hanging in the corner.
Yeah. I
Yeah, you
miss.
should, after COVID, you should be like guest DJing in the balcony at sunset.
You know, it would be fun to live stream from a different location sometime.
I know.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
I have faith.
So let's we'll head inside, get that steady Wi-Fi, and maybe
Dang technology.
talk about like propagation and take any questions. How about that? Is there anything else you wanted to cover?
I think that's mostly it. I mean, like, I just encourage everyone to give things a try.
Yeah. Like, cause
Yeah.
so yeah, like, one person had mentioned avocado doesn't taste the same from if you grow it from a seed or whatever, as a fruit that you
I'll
have.
tell you in 10 years if it happens.
Yeah, but I think I like your attitude with plants is you're really open to trial and error. Like you have nothing to lose essentially, right?
Yeah, and I feel like during COVID, people have taken up a lot of interest in gardening and plants and whatnot. So, I'm cooking in the kitchen and I'm like, oh, there's a carrot. I'm going to try to put it in water and see if it'll sprout.
Right.
Bok choy, lettuce, bases and stuff. Just put it in water and see it grow. And it's kind of cool. It's like a little experiment.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the kitchen stuff that you've propagated because I found that really fun. You actually managed to grow a tomato from.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that all about? What did that look like? How did that work?
So what happens is if you kind of let your vegetables get old and then you try to eat it, I literally cut it open and I'm like, oh, each seed is like kind of sprouting. So I just put it in water and then I was like, oh, I mean, not water, sorry, soil. And then it started like sprouting into plants and then I put them in soil and it just became a bunch of tomato plants that I can't have too many tomato plants, so I just gave them to friends, and they're thriving.
Right.
So I'm enjoying the process of having my friends go through the process with me, which I really love about the plant community. It's just very giving.
Well, it's like you talked about. It's just like sharing a hobby or an interest. You have just like another point of connection with people and friends.
Yeah.
And then
I'm gonna make everyone a plant enthusiast.
Yeah, and the Thai basil. So you were mentioning it on the balcony. If you go to a pho restaurant or if you ever come across basil, you can propagate how?
You just take the stem, like eat as many leaves, but leave a couple, and then you just. Do I have one? Oh, imagine this with Thai basil.
Right.
You take off the big leaves, and then you want to like kind of stick it in water where there's a little bit of
a node. Yeah.
Yeah. And then eventually it'll like sprout roots on the bottom. And it's like super easy. You can do that with not Thai basil. You can do that with regular basil.
Yeah.
As long as there's a stem. Basil is really easy.
Yeah.
Or if you have a friend that has a plant that you like, just be like, can I have some cuttings? And then just grow your own.
So have you tried, I know you have, but what were your results with propagating romaine lettuce? That's like an easy one. I've done it myself, but
yeah. So So you just cut off, like, you have a romaine lettuce, you cut off and eat most of, like, the leafy greens, and then you stick the base parts into water. And then within a day or two, you'll see new leaves kind of spreading. I think there is a threshold on how long you can just stick it in water.
Yeah, for sure.
You plant in soil. I haven't had it come to a full head, but there's like, if you go on YouTube, there's plenty of videos about what kitchen scraps you can use to like make a new garden.
Yeah, I kind of hate some of those videos because they don't show like real time lapse. It's like it's clearly a scrap, and then they just stuck like a head of romaine like in the soil, and I'm like, dude, that's so you didn't actually do it. But it's true, you can sprout from just like leftover kitchen cutting. I think there's just, as people experiment, you'll kind of notice there's little nuances of timing of when you transfer from water to soil so it doesn't get too bitter. Yeah. And then with Thai basil, it roots so easily generally, but it's like the transfer to soil where you start to, it's a little hit or miss, right?
Yeah, my mom actually recently bought a whole thing of Thai basil thinking she was going to propagate like 10 million plants.
Yeah.
But only like one or two survived.
Right.
Because I think also with supermarket, it kind of sits on the shelf.
Right.
And so it's not as fresh as like Thai basil you get from the restaurants, which have higher turnover and, it's like fresher, I think.
Right.
I thought it was really funny this COVID time, like David Chang, the chef, like he had a posting in his Instagram about like putting green onions in water, and everyone like lost their minds, like about like, oh my God, this is like a new thing. I'm like, I thought it was just like
almost any like Asian household has like been like, boop. That's how you keep stuff fresh. Or cilantro, you can't grow it from water, but generally a lot of herbs that you buy from the grocery store, just stick it in water with a plastic bag over it, and it helps extend the life of like these herbs that otherwise die a day in your fridge, Yeah.
Another cool thing to propagate is carrots. Like when you get carrots, you put the base in water, and it'll start sprouting like what do you call that? The greens. Yeah. So it actually won't become a carrot, but you can eat the carrot greens.
Yeah, you can use it for like a good gremolata or like a pesto or something like that. Do you ever grow fungi? That's a question from a chat.
No.
Not yet.
No. I mean, they've popped up in my plants before as like
a bonus plant.
Yeah, but then it's not edible. I don't think it's edible. Have you?
I have not. I've just gotten it as like a surprise. There's somehow a spore grew, but
that's a fungi.
Yeah.
I know I have friends who have like mushroom kits and other things, but
yeah. So is there anything else you want to add, or the chat? Do you guys have any questions for Miss Fancy Plants before we end our stream and maybe hit up a friend? We'll do a raid for sure. But what is your? Can you name a favorite plant, or maybe your most precious variety?
Okay, I really like. I call her Medusa. She was my first obsession with plants.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know why I'm gravitated to this plant. Everyone kind of like has a plant that they really like, and I really like this one.
Yeah.
I just love trailing plants, and it's not in the best condition right now, but usually it's much more lush and green.
Right.
And I think you were there when I was like obsessed about getting this plant, and I hit up someone on Instagram and I got a cutting from them and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So everyone has their little niche. I can't do with ferns. Ferns are too high maintenance.
Yeah.
How about you? What's your favorite plant?
I am definitely a big fan of the Monstera family. I mean, I love the Swiss cheese plant that you have, and I don't have one yet. I think definitely eyeing and would love to get a Satin Pathos. Just because I know they're fairly easy to grow, being part of the Pothos Philodendron family. It's a unique texture. And then, I mean, I think the pink rubber tree variety is really beautiful, but I'm not so much a collector. I'm just more about practicality. Like, can I keep this alive with my limited, morning sunlight? So, yeah.
Well, what rubber plants you definitely can.
Yeah.
Yeah, next time there is like a in-person plant swap, you should definitely come.
Yeah. Um, do you collect plants on a theme or just random?
I don't collect succulents anymore. I do more house plants.
Yeah.
But like now I have a fair amount of plants, so it's more like what don't I have?
Yeah.
And I'm also in the process of like trying to like share the wealth also.
Right.
Like if you want cuttings or friends want cuttings of things, I'm like, here, I'll generate some.
Yeah. So, will you explain the process of spring onion? I think that will be our last question. I'll let you go. Respect your
Spring
time.
spring
Yeah.
onion.
Like, because
What?
like the green onion, how you save the water and uh, how
Yeah.
you put them in water and transfer to soil. How does
Well,
one make a plant out of spring onion?
Case in point, you buy spring onion and then you chop it off and then you watch it grow. But then it does get slimy after a while, so you do want to transfer into water because there's no nutrients in this. So you kind of want to give it nutrients and soil. And then you can just continue to get green onions. Also, when talking about this is a method I kind of toyed around with. These all came from seeds, so this is thyme. So if you have time to grow thyme, you can make these self-watering propagation things and grow your own food and herbs at least
I
in
love
house.
that so much. I mean, it's like really resourceful and also just like fun while we're home and planning for the
yeah,
end of the world, because everything's on fire.
I know everything's on fire.
I'm just kidding.
Everyone, everyone's stay home.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
hmm?
oh, I said we'll get through this.
Yeah, we will. Well, Belinda, thank you again so much for your time. I will keep you on as we like raid and end this stream. But everyone in the chat, thank you again for your time. Before we part ways, if anyone feels so inclined, would like to send a tip to Belinda's way, you can just send it to via me on Venmo, Cash App, or via my donation link. It would mean a lot because she is just doing this with her voluntary like donate generously donating and sharing her time with us, and welcoming us into your home and showing your
Aw,
space, all that.
of course. I thank you for allowing me this time to get nerdy with about plants.
No.
And if you have any questions about plants, feel free to ask Lonnie.
Oh yes,
I
let me paste. I gotta paste your social links before
yeah
we part ways. That would. So she is Miss Fancy Plants LA
yeah
on Instagram. I will give me just a sec, guys. I actually tagged her on my Instagram. It's just DJ Lonnie Love if you want to come find me to follow me for my schedule. I generally stream DJ sets 5 times a week, but every few weeks I do these chats about plants, skincare, all of that jazz. So this is
yeah. I love talking about plants. And if you have a plant question that I can possibly help you figure out, feel free to message me.
Yeah, I mean, clearly she's passionate about plants. This was like, I was so excited to have you as a guest. One, because, you're a friend, so I feel like it's a very easy, comfortable dynamic for us to chat. But two, I just like miss your energy. Like, it's so fun to hear you gush about your plants and your latest hacks and all of that.
Oh, love it.
Yeah,
I miss you.
I miss you too.